Hello everyone who is watching us in the live stream or later. This video will be also sent to everyone who subscribed to this webinar. Thank you very much. I believe today we're going to discuss a very exciting topic that many people heard in a different professional industries. As we act as an Amazon agency, as a full service Amazon agency, we want to also speak from our experience and tell a bit more about artificial intelligence and how it can help to sell and boost your performance on Amazon. Today, you will be able to listen to me. My name is Mark Daniel. I'm a founder of Inels, and my partner Andre, a co-founder and a person who really does a lot in terms of optimization, in terms of internal processes when we manage different companies and brands on Amazon. So first, let me share the presentation that you will be able to see today and start with agenda and speak a couple of things what will be covered today. So first thing, we will be telling a bit more about Amazon itself, because Amazon is constantly developing in different ways and of course integrating artificial intelligence as well. And then later we will be able to tell you more about how to integrate artificial intelligence in different aspects, such as research for Amazon, listings and content, PPC optimization, customer support, reporting, and etc. Before I jump in, I want to say that this presentation will be quite heavy with the text, but it's on purpose so you can later request it or receive it and actually use it for real purpose for optimizing your presence on Amazon, because the text in many slides will contain prompts that you can use to communicate with ChatGPT or use it for different purpose in different ways. So don't be scared of much text. You don't need to go into the details and really go into all the aspects what's it's written on the screen. Just listen to us, and later, if you want to use it, you can actually use the slides as well. So let me start and speak about these two different parts that we'll be covering today. As I mentioned already, and you can see on the left, Amazon is integrating a lot of different features from artificial intelligence. If you're already a seller on Amazon, you can probably know about that Amazon is integrating different tools in terms of logistics, in terms of inventory management, especially for the last couple of years. Amazon has its internal algorithm for search engines for how you can see products on different placements on Amazon, how different sellers rank, what is important for ranking, and etc. And then in the end, you can see in the corner on the left, you can see that Amazon invested almost 100 million in dollars in artificial intelligence for different purposes as well. And of course, Amazon owns AVS, where a big part of artificial intelligence plays a big role as well. So on the left, you can see different tools and what we're going to speak about, but we also will speak mainly about ChatGPT. Before we jump in, I just want to say that Amazon is doing quite well in terms of suggesting different features for how you can control your inventory management currently. So when I speak this, what I mean, you can see on the right, there is a different facts and different metrics that Amazon is telling you in terms of be a good seller. So for example, your excess inventory or your sell-through rate, or what is your in-stock rate, and all this tells you on how to be efficient. So in a very basic words, you don't need to send too much to Amazon warehouses, and you don't need to send too little. You need to be very sharp with your inventory management, and Amazon has different metrics which affects your not only health as a seller, but also affects your ranking in the end in general. So make sure that you also integrate and make sure that you have a good inventory management on Amazon, as it is a part of success. And another thing what I want to mention about the algorithm itself is that many sellers, they heard about A9 algorithm, and constantly Amazon keep developing it, and recently they start calling it A10, which means that before, as you can see on the left, what has been playing the biggest role on Amazon to convert and to increase your rank? It's good reviews, it's a good competitive price, it's a sales history, product image, and product title and description. All this together makes a good listing and makes people buy, which means that conversions increase your organic ranking. Right now, Amazon developed this algorithm and implemented a bit more artificial intelligence into it. When I mean this, I want to mention here that it's not only about how the listing looks like, but right now it's also about the relevancy. So you don't want to rank too much on not relevant keywords. It's also about the customer behavior. Right now, we cannot track very specifically, but we also believe that customer behavior through your brand store, through your A plus content, how much people spend on different parts of your listing on your pages also plays a good role in terms of your organic ranking. And in general, customer satisfaction, it's not only reviews, it's also for the product, it's also reviews for your account in general. It also how people react to your product, how many returns do you have, and all of these little aspects in general, they play a big role, and they all combined play a role on your organic ranking. Next thing, we want to cover a big part of our presentation specifically for ChatGPT. I will pass the word to Andre, and he will speak really good examples on how you can actually implement ChatGPT for your Amazon as a business.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. And I think that everyone's LinkedIn feed has been bombarded with posts about ChatGPT, artificial intelligence for the past 5 months. And what I see is that there are a lot of speculations of what is actually ChatGPT and AI is capable of at the moment and where it's going. Where I believe there are some key elements that you have to remember when using ChatGPT and seeing all of those AI tools. Of course, first thing first, you have to remember that most of the tools that are getting released at the moment, those are based on ChatGPT, which means that it's working on the system that you can use yourself. So you can basically go to ChatGPT and get most of the functionality from the tools yourself. But so tools actually are helping you to just ensure that you don't do this manually. Basically, tools are simplifying the user experience for you, and a lot of things that I'll show you can do in ChatGPT, you can do more easily via tools. But of course, you first, I believe, have to test it yourself, see whether you are satisfied with the functionality that AI gives you in at the start, and then of course you can consider different tools. First thing to remember is that still ChatGPT data is limited up to 2021 at the moment. And this is important when you are doing the research of, let's say, you want to find some, uh, if there are new regulations or certifications are coming up on the market and your research is based on that, and you have to stay up to date. You really have to pay attention and double check some of the information that is going to be provided by ChatGPT. So this is something that you always have to keep in mind about 2021. Also, the most important thing that I noticed that not everyone is aware of, when you go to ChatGPT, you can create different new chats. And the most important here to remember that you have to treat each chat separately. Basically, it's the new hub that will remember what information you will give to ChatGPT, to the AI. So before starting a conversation, you can give any information that you want an assistant to take into account before actually doing the research or completing some of the tasks. So you can do like that. Hey, now I'm going to give you a task of writing an Amazon listing. But before that, I want you to keep into account all of this information about the product, about the description, about our persona, and etc. And all of the chats that you're going to have within this same chat window is going to remember the initial date you gave. So you can always get back to this chat 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks later, and it's going to remember the initial data that you actually gave to the chat GPT. And also it will remember some of the conversation that you had already. So your conversation with the AI will get smoother and more efficient. That's all about it. I would really recommend you to treat it as a personal assistant that actually can learn and can adjust and remember your specific needs. Hence, if you want to, if you're not satisfied with the reply that you received from ChatGPT, you can always ask to elaborate, write something in a more emotional way, change it, or say that, okay, you did it completely wrong, please rewrite it in a certain amount of characters. So whatever you want, you can actually put it there, and we will show some examples. Also, there is a difference between the paid version and the free version of ChatGPT. The one that is free of charge, it's not the most updated version, so it's less quick, and there is some of the functionality that is available only after you upgrade for the paid version. You use it for 1 or 2 months, and then you can get the most updated version of ChatGPT. But still, I would say that for most of the use cases related to Amazon, you are fine with the free version, and you can start with this, and then later you will see if you need to have a quicker responses or some additional functionality that you can always check on the OpenAI website what is actually getting released. So on the next slide, there is an example of the one of the use case scenarios of how you can use ChatGPT for Amazon is, of course, requesting to find information about influencers. As we talked before, that it's data that is 2021, but still there are a lot of influencers and a lot of ways of starting the research from that you will be completely fine with having 2 years old information. Here you can treat it as give me some ideas, give me some influencers I can start the research with, and then when you have a list of those ones, you can use Google, you can use ChatGPT to help you generate some new search queries for the Google to give you more updated and more up-to-date influencers. On the next slide, you will see that one of the best things how you can actually utilize ChatGPT is you can do 2 different scenarios of analyzing the whole category where you will sell the reviews. The first one is more basic one where you can actually go to let's say the product you are interested in selling. You go to category, find a bestseller. You can then use Helium extension as an example here, review insights, and you can grab all of those reviews, insert them in ChatGPT, and then you can use the prompt that we actually just put here. Again, all of the prompts will be available on this presentation. You can just copy paste it to ChatGPT, just inserting your product and your criteria. And this will allow you to actually understand that on the next slide, you will see that ChatGPT will, by using this prompt, it will show you, Mark, can you show the next slide? Yes, so here basically you can ask ChatGPT to read 100,000 of reviews and just identify, hey, based on those reviews, just tell me what are the benefits of the products, what customers are enjoying, what actually they're mostly complaining about, what are the areas of improvement that I can use for my product. So this is all really valuable information that you can just extract from the AI within 10 minutes, and then it will allow you to understand better the category you're selling in. And this information can be both used for your own product listing and also something that you can take into account for the marketing strategies for your products. On the next slides, here's the next one will be example of the more advanced strategy where you can actually go on Amazon, and let's say you're selling yoga mats. You can go to Amazon, search for yoga mat, and find 10 best-selling products. The important thing here is those should not be sponsored one. And then you are using the prompt that we're inserting here. You're using extensions that give you the review insights. And then you are basically on the next slide, you will see an example that you have to go and pick the most recent reviews, because we're interested in actually seeing the feedback that has been posted for the past, let's say, 6 months, because maybe the brand that you're analyzing changed the product for the past 5 years. If they're an old seller, we want to understand what is happening with our competition at the moment. So then we're able to actually apply those filters, export the reviews, and then we take in a row 10 different products. We export around 100 reviews from each of those products, and then we put them into the ChatGPT. And by using the prompt that we showed here, you will be able to ask actually ChatGPT what are the, for instance, what interesting insights stand out to you after analyzing the data? What are the top 5 pain points customer have, some benefits of the products? What's actually type of packaging you see that people enjoy the most? So basically, you can get a lot of information about your competition, and then after you analyze this data, on the next slide, there will be an example that you can actually ask ChatGPT to write you bullet points. So there's certain prompts that you always have to insert like word by word. So that's why you have you can just copy paste, and then you will get the detailed description based on categories, based on what works for the best sellers, how they are actually defining their products, and what customers don't like. And that's something you can change, and that's how you can stand out by utilizing some of the weaknesses of your competitors and transforming them to your advantages. On the next slide, there will be just, this is the third prompt, just shows you that you can actually get information about packaging, colors, and etc. So if we move next, then you will see that this is the final one prompt that you can use, where you are able to generate description. And here it's important that you can tell AI how many characters you want to be in a description. You want to ensure that you put some of the, if you want an more emotional description, or a description that is more leaning towards the specific feature that product or brand has, you can just request it to ChatGPT, and then you will get it in any amount of the characters you want. The next use case is about the same, creating listings, but here is the very basic option that you can just write, help me create an Amazon listing for my product, include title, 5 bullet points, and product description. Then you tell ChatGPT how many characters should be in the title, how many bullet points. You want to ensure whether you want to give it a task to have an emotional title for you and bullet points or description or not. It really depends on the category you're selling in. And here again, you can always ask ChatGPT to put and insert certain keywords into your bullet points, have more detailed description, or have, let's say, more a smaller version of the text. And on the next slide, there is an example of the prompt that you can just put to AI. And here we take as an example product which is temporary tattoos for kids. Basically, let's say we only know some specifics about the products, but we don't have any copywriting. We don't know we don't want to hire any copywriters. We don't know how to write the beautiful text. So we just give it some information. What type of product we're selling, how many characters should be there. And we've done the research, we identified the most popular keywords. So we tell them, hey, include the following keywords, please, here. And then ChatGPT is generating for us the title. On the next slide, there will be an example that in case you don't like something about the title, you can always ask to, hey, please add more characters, or please keep the same title, but add a couple of different keywords. Or you can just translate it to other languages. And actually, it can be translated to all of the European languages here. You can also use translators like DeepL, if you don't want to hire professional translators, but you want to have a good translation done by the AI, you can definitely insert here, so it will generate for you. On the next slide, there will be an example of after you have on the same chat, you have a title. Then you can ask the ChatGPT, hey, and now please give me some of the bullet points. You tell them how many characters you wanted to have. And then if you're not satisfied, let's say you got the bullet points that didn't have enough characters, you can always get back to ChatGPT and say, hey, please ensure to put more text, 250 or 300 characters. At the same time, the same thing we did with the title. We can also ask ChatGPT to put the certain keywords into the bullet points. So then we ensure that our listing is optimized not only with the title, but also bullet points and description. And on the next slide, there will be an example of the bullet points that ChatGPT made here. And as we can see, it from the first try, it didn't make it with enough characters. So then we just write, hey, please ensure that you put the correct amount of characters. Also, the reason why we put this screenshot here, sometimes it can make some mistakes. For instance, it just wrote product benefit without actually identifying that benefit. So again, we just treat it as an assistant. Hey, please change it. You have to ensure everything except this is fine, but this one thing should be changed. Then we give it a task. And on the next slide, you can see that here the task was specifically about the amount of characters in bullet points. And now it did not only change the amount of characters, it actually showed now how many characters there is in a bullet point. And that's how you can also learn how to treat the AI. You know, okay, if I next time ask him to put the amount of characters after each of the bullet points, that's how I can ensure that it's done a great job or not. On the next slide, there is an example of how you can use it in case you don't have a brand story, or let's say you have it, but you would like to have a more appealing, more text, more emotional way how to connect customers. You can use the same prompt here that, hey, please help me to write a brand story for my branded products. You give some of the key areas of the brand of the product, maybe how it was created, what you actually want to build a brand story around. In this case, we're doing this for the brand that produces different toys for kids. And it was created by a mother who wanted to create a special and unique product for her kid. So we just give this information, this little information to ChatGPT. And on the next slide, you will see the example that now it actually not only wrote the story for the brand. Here you can read and see that actually it made a really nice description of how the mother wanted to create and craft something special for the kid. But also it took into account what type of products we're about to sell and expanded the portfolio and told that in details about the features, about the brand itself, and wrote it in an emotional way. Then you have a super nice text to work with. You can ask to put more details, or you can just copy paste it, change some things. Again, when you don't have any ideas, this is a perfect tool for you just to generate and take it as a foundation, and then you can make some adjustments. On the next slide is an example of how you can use ChatGPT for customer support. We constantly have been dealing with different messages from clients, from shoppers on Amazon to our clients' products. So we just decided to make different drafts using ChatGPT. So we just give a scenario here that we're receiving a bad review about the logistics. And in this case, it's actually Amazon who takes care of fulfilling orders. Hence, we kind of don't work with, like, we're not responsible for this. But at the same time, we cannot just say to the customer, hey, it's not our problem, just talk to Amazon. We have to give it in a nice way, explain to in details what they can do in order to solve some of their issues. So on the next slide, you will see an example that the ChatGPT not only gave a really, of course, nice answer to the customer, saying politely about this issue, but even though at the moment ChatGPT is not able to read all the websites, even though some people say it can, but it cannot yet. It uses some extensions, it reads some of the headings, it reads some of the articles, but still here it was able to identify that in order to contact Amazon, that there is a step-by-step plan how to do this, step-by-step action plan. So we didn't even put this information when creating the chat. So this is something that ChatGPT was able to pull out from the database. So yeah, that was mainly about some of the use cases where ChatGPT can be useful for your Amazon business. And again, the main takeaway is that you really want to give as much information as possible about the product, about the target persona, and always using the right prompts. So feel free to just copy paste some of the text we showcase here and try it yourself for your products.
Thank you, Andre. And it's very interesting and exciting. Before I maybe jump to the next part and tell a bit more about other tools, because other tools, they make ChatGPT even more advanced. They take this some of the feature and they add it. Maybe before this, Andre, I would like to ask you and maybe think if you already have some thoughts about how do you think ChatGPT can develop for Amazon sellers. I mean, from my vision, I see that it's already quite advanced. It gives a lot of interesting information, quite a lot of great content opportunities for listings, for the keywords, right? For the brand. I maybe can say one thing what I see right now that maybe is not yet developed, and I cannot find a so advanced feature from another tools, is where ChatGPT can make more thorough understanding of the competition, understand the relevancy of the product listing to the relevant keywords. For example, we know the keywords and automatically suggests saying that this keyword is not already trending, right? You have another word on a certain market that should be replaced. And it's very hard sometimes for even artificial intelligence to understand what is the product is about. It can be toy, right? It can understand that it is the toy for kids, but it maybe cannot understand that it might be the present for your daughter, right? Which is also a great keyword. So this is just my thought, and this is something that's where still the human touch should be involved. But maybe you have some other thoughts on, or maybe vision how it can be developed in the upcoming years.
Yeah, I actually think we're only limited by the access that Amazon gives, and we have how do we connect API, because at the moment still there is no solution how we can fully unite the live research of the keywords, the copy writing, the translation in order to write an Amazon listing and, let's say, develop strategy from the scratch. And I believe that it's going to develop in a way that now we see like Helium, Zoom for different platforms. They are having options that you can integrate. They're integrated ChatGPT. You can write a listing with giving them some information about the product, some keywords. But I believe the future will be that it's all in one platform where you are just giving information about the product, and it asks you some questions like, okay, tell me about your features, tell me what is your planned revenue, how much you're willing to spend on the marketing, and which languages you want your products and which markets you want to sell in. And then it will analyze each of the markets, take it into account about the keywords. So all the things we're doing, that some of the processes that can be repeated, right, without some extra thoughts. Analyzing keywords, understanding whether, let's say, there are potential for sales in the markets. It will just give a recommendation whether we should sell this product or not on some markets, with the keeping with the budget that we have, and so let's say product limitations. And then what type of keywords we should be using, what type of campaigns. I believe that it will be able to learn a lot about the actually strategies on how to sell.
Yeah.
And
I agree. Even though the tools that I will introduce today, they're limited. All of them are limited in some way. But here, I collected a couple of tools which are a little bit more advanced than ChatGPT, and does a little bit different or additional provides additional features. But still, many things are still missing. You can start utilizing these tools, but we definitely recommend to keep track of the market and maybe see what kind of tools appear in the future again. So one of the most probably popular, or just the tool which we hear quite a lot around the Amazon communities and in general AI, it's Shulix. It's an AI product research tool which does a lot of different great features. One of the great things that we definitely think is useful is to, and we always did it, we tried to collect information from the product reviews. When we sell on Amazon, we of course can research for the keywords, we can see what people are searching for, but it's very important and interesting to dig into the reviews of the competitors and your own product, understanding what actually people are saying. From there, you can find different interesting benefits, features, or things that can be improved or which can be integrated in the product listing. So Shulix does this. It evaluates, it collects all the information from the reviews. It shows a similar way as Helium. If you don't know, Helium showed and collected the most common keywords which have been mentioned in the reviews. It showed it, but Shulix is a little bit more advanced. It shows these keywords, it shows these features, and then it recommends to integrate it to the listing and say how you can actually change your product listing, right? So it's quite interesting tool. The next one I just want to mention is ZoneGuru, and right now it's integrated with OpenAI, and it has a very interesting tool as well. And very similar again to what Andrei have mentioned regarding ChatGPT, just a little bit more advanced. And of course, for the tools like this, you need to have a monthly subscription and you need to pay certain amount of money. But here with the Song Guru and OpenAI, you have automatically selected keywords for your listings, where artificial intelligence is generating the bullet points, adjusting towards the language, and then also providing some recommendation. So this is quite advanced. It is quite interesting, but again, something that also you can do manually. Maybe spend a little bit more time, but you can do manually on the chat GBT. The next one, which we believe can be used not only for Amazon, it's in general for e-commerce. The customer support on Amazon doesn't take so much time as on the web shop or other platforms in most of the cases, but such solutions as eDesk provides a great opportunity to automate this, and automate it by integrating the artificial intelligent robots chats into your messages, into answering your customers, your buyers about your products and about different questions. So here it's also quite interesting that the tool learns about your product, learns from the most common replies or answers that you first might be writing manually, and then it provides the answers to already automatically. And then later it can also change to different language. It can also then later provide you performance analysis and show how is it going. But the great thing about integrating such thing is that people don't need to wait for your manual reply. And the next one is regarding the PPC. WAPA. I believe that there are many tools, and we see many tools right now, many different softwares on the market which are integrating artificial intelligence. And in general, it's important to say that Amazon is also integrating many additional features inside their Amazon advertising platform. But what is important regarding new features that right now tools are implementing, and I believe it will be developed even more, is that in case like this, they will be able to collect data and make even more changes. So, for example, place ads only for the specific period of time and do not change it manually as you do it sometimes in a advertising panel, but to really change this timing all the time and do A/B testing on their own. So, for example, show ad for the specific day period of the day or specific days in a week, and then what works best, learn from it, and then only perform the ads like in this specific timing. Another one which is quite important is for those who maybe don't know so much how the Amazon works, how Amazon PPC works, very shortly is that it's quite important to isolate keywords, to test keywords differently in a separate campaigns to make sure that the keywords are getting, especially high relevancy keywords, are getting exposure. And here the tool is able to make this automatically. So play with the keywords all the time and throw keywords out of the generic campaigns, maybe automated campaigns, and place it separately and say that, all right, I see that there is this campaign with the 20 different keywords, all of them are performing great, but maybe just one is outstanding. It generates very great sales, have a great ACOS. Let me bring this specific keyword outside of the general campaign, test it separately. If it doesn't work, if the certain ACOS level or other KPI is not achieved, put it back in generic campaign. This is a very interesting feature. From our personal experience, if it makes sense to implement only AI and only tools inside your account, or have a specific person who is responsible for PPC. It really depends. It can be both. It can be combined, even though sometimes it's very difficult because it's in my perspective it's actually a double work for some cases. But it's really different on your goals, on your needs, and your business. I would say business size, how big you are and how fast you want to scale, how more specifically you want to be inside the campaigns, and how fast you want to act on specific actions, and how often you want to test different things. Also, really depends on the product. Some products have very general, very easy to understand keywords. For example, toothbrush, you don't call it in many different names, right? You just call it a toothbrush, and maybe there are some slang words, but not many. However, there are many other products which might be there might be different trending keywords that might be always changing, and that's why it's important to test it. And therefore, yeah, that's very different from the approach that different tools have. And here it's still a good benefit. It's still great development on the market, and probably in the future it will be even more interesting features that AI can do with the PPC. And the last one is something that I want to add to what Andre mentioned with the ChatGPT, where ChatGPT can create a lot of text, a lot of great text, and include keywords as well in this text for your product listings, for the brand store, for the A plus content, and etc. However, how about the creatives? Lately, there are many. You maybe even saw with the all these talks happening about the AI that AI can also generate videos and pictures. So, for example, on the left, you can see one company at Creative AI, which can fully analyze your brand assets, such as videos, pictures, but also text actually, and generate new creatives for the specific target audience. So, if you're a new company and you don't want to invest a lot of time, a lot of resources into new, let's say, photo shoots or lifestyle images or video content, you can actually make sure that AI does some of the great content, which you can split and have on your brand store. For example, you can have just a couple of lifestyle images of your product, but if it's not enough for the brand store, half of it can be supplemented by the AI. And for example, in a brand store, we see that in my experience, in our experience, we see that actually many companies, they're not having a lot of great content, and it's just a product. If you go on the brand store on Amazon, many of the companies, they just have a couple of products and maybe just one two pictures, which is in our experience not so well for the conversions and to tell the brand story, because a brand story, the purpose of the brand store is not fully optimized. Another one on the right is Pixel Cut. It's where you can create again lifestyle images where you can have the product picture. As you can see, I try to have here a video, but unfortunately it worked 1 minute before we had this webinar. But the purpose of this picture is just to show that you can create, just make even on your iPhone picture of the product, crop it, have it in a different surroundings, create different infographics. It's maybe not so professional for the beginning, but because in the long term, we still recommend to use your brand identity, maybe to create to use the professional graphic designer. But for the beginning, it can play in a very good in a very good sense for your Amazon business, again in terms of even having a main picture for your listing, which is very important for click-through rate. So that's it. We just recommended a couple of tools for you as well, and there are
Yeah,
much
Mark,
more to come.
sorry, just one
Yeah,
question. Do you
sure.
think that's we will have still a lot of small players, different tools, let's say in 3, 5 years, or it's more going to be like, let's say, main players, 2, 3 companies that offer everything. That you have a tool for PPC, you have a tool for customer support, for listing optimization, and they're not going to be those different small players offering some AI solutions for Amazon.
Yeah, that's a good question, because you probably see as well that many of the small players are not existing for a long time, and if they don't have a great business model, and they probably cannot really attract enough audience, attract a lot of sellers to use these tools. And I believe that separately, these tools cannot exist with the separate features. Like I showed many different tools right now, but like these four tools can be actually used into, like five tools can be used in one tool, right? So maybe it will happen in this following way, that right now these tools, these companies are testing the market, but in the end there will be one similar to Helium, or another tool which combines a lot of different features, shows it all for different purposes. And definitely, for example, when it comes to the content, I really believe that should be one tool which has everything when it comes to integrating keywords, tracking keywords, having content in terms of the text, having content in terms of visuals, and all of the AI features that we told today in one place, right? When it
Yeah.
comes to the PPC, I believe it's still knowing the market. The last years, there are always many different. Yeah, it's internet connection was a little bit off.
Yeah, just so we're some lagging, but yeah, still I also believe that it will be mainly about those some big players like Helium and Zongur that will combine some of the PPC solutions, customer support, some of the solutions related to listing optimization, but we will still have big players like Midjourney and etc. for actually Canva for generating content, because they're working with a huge database and huge integrations that tools like Helium and Zonguru cannot offer. So it's going to be like 2, 3 major niches that are you would need to combine, but still some small solutions can be found within one tool.
Yeah, and regarding the PPC, maybe I was interrupted by the internet connection, but I think it's very different for each company how they like to see the dashboard where they manage it. So I know that many different PPC softwares, automation tools, they provide different type of interface, so it is more convenient to manage it, but it requires a lot of testing because for different type of companies, for different type of, for example, if it is a retailer, if it is a brand owner, how many SKUs, etc., etc., it is different interface that everyone wants to see. So I believe that therefore it always will be many different PPC tools on the market. But yeah, and today, just to conclude here, the key benefits that we spoke today, I want to say the last word. Thank you for your attention and watching. As if you still don't know who we are, feel free to visit our website and to know that we are a full service Amazon marketing agency helping brands to fully onboard and scale and manage their Amazon business internationally. And if you are interested in seeing how we work or what we can offer, you can always reach out to us. What we offer is a free of charge audit if you're already selling on Amazon, or research if you want to start selling on Amazon, and provide the research on how likely how much potential you would have when entering different markets. So feel free to reach us out. Thank you, Andre, for your talk as well. It was
Thanks.
a pleasure to host this webinar, and have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.